and we will start by talking about one of the biggest refereeing decisions of the weekend. At least that's the way it's been, with everybody talking about it afterwards. Happened in the Newcastle and Liverpool game. It was a straight red card for Virgil van Dijk, one that Jurgen Klopp still didn't agree with after the game. Well, the good news is we actually do have a referee on the panel with us tonight, in Mark Clattenburg. Shaka Hislop is also joining us.
Hold on. Ex-referee.
Ex-referee.
Right? It's going to be a long night.
It is, because he's going to get some stick tonight, trust me. Was it a red for you, Craig?
Listen, this for me was one of the easiest decisions I think we're going to see all season. The only salvation potentially for Virgil van Dijk was the replay appearing and he played the ball. That's the only salvation, because it was a goal-scoring opportunity that was going to arise from it. There was a good pace on the ball. It wasn't overhit. He was either going to take a touch, which he wasn't allowed to, or he was going to let it run across his body. And he was completely wiped out, as Stevie said yesterday, because Van Dijk was on the wrong side. So I think this was one of the most simple red cards we'll see in the Premier League this year.
Now, we've got the receipts, Mark Clattenburg, because yesterday you said to Dan that you thought in real time that it wasn't a red. You then doubled down and texted Dan to say you didn't think it was clear and obvious. You've slept on it and you've changed your mind.
Yeah, always better to sleep on it, kid. When I watched it live, I know what Craig's saying, but when I watched it live, and I was surprised that the red card came out, and the people around us that were watching it, they were surprised that the red card had came out. And I understand what Craig was saying, that the only thing that they needed to look at, or the VAR needed to look at, was it a foul? Did he play the ball first before there was any contact? What the replay does show, there's a clear contact on Isaac before Van Dijk gets the ball. So therefore it's a foul. The only decision that it can be after the foul was awarded was a red card. So the referee has got it right when I watched it. It's just, people can argue, and I think Jurgen Klopp argued it was a soft foul. It's still a foul, and because of the position that it was in. If it was inside the penalty area, it would only be a yellow card because, the triple punishment got removed some seasons ago. But because it's outside the penalty area, it has to be a red card. I think what Jurgen Klopp also mentioned was it could be potentially a 3-match ban. It's only a 1-game ban, and it depends on what the FA do with Van Dijk, because he didn't leave the field to play in enough time, and he also abused the fourth official going off. So it'll be interesting what they do going forward, but it is only a 1-match ban for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
So, Mark, though, if you were in the VAR room yesterday, having seen it...
Oh, no, this is really disappointing. It's a really disappointing Monday evening now that he's changed his mind. How many sangria did you have last night to text in and say, nothing wrong with that?
The thing is, as a Newcastle fan, I was screaming for a red card, but I was surprised when I was watching it live, because I thought initially Van Dijk had got the ball because the ball changed direction. The argument was there a foul before? And when I seen only the one replay, while every Newcastle fan that was around us was jumping up for a red card, I didn't think it just was a big surprise for me that a red card was given. But when I watched it in the cold light of day, when you still it, and when you see the photo where he gets fouled, which is what the referee and the VAR look at, the photo, Isaac is clearing on goal with no covering defender. So sometimes referees get it wrong, but as a VAR would have had all the camera angles. I didn't have the camera angle. That's my only excuse.
Listen.
He had something called a TV.
So yesterday...
I need to clear something up here. So if Mark was the VAR and the referee says, Mark, we'll think about that, he's like, hold on, I need a little sleep on this. Just give me 24 hours. I'll get back. I'll get back to you tomorrow. We'll have 24 hours injury time.
Shaka, can I clear this up? As a VAR, I wouldn't have been having sangria. That's for sure.
Shaq, this is a kind of cutting-edge refereeing that gets you to referee Champions League finals and European Championships. I'll let you know in 24 hours.
I need a nap. I need a little nap. Hold on.
No, but Mark Clattenburg has actually left Ali Moreno on an island now. Because yesterday, Alex said it wasn't a red card. Got told Mark Clattenburg agrees with you. I don't know how he felt about that.
Is this another one that's turned?
No, I have not turned, but I have to say, I nearly turned when I heard that Mark agreed with me initially. I said, I have to rethink. I have to rethink this. And I've looked at it, and I'm not changing my stance on it. Look, I understand and I concede that Virgil van Dijk takes the wrong angle on the ball. By definition, if he's having to go through the body of Isak, who's side by side with him, to get to the ball, and eventually get to the ball going through Isak, that means that if Isak is beyond him, it's marginally beyond him. That's where I don't think this is clearly through on goal, where they're running side by side. And I still think there's an opportunity for Van Dijk to get back and try to at least make a challenge. Whether is he going to win it or not, I don't know. But it doesn't make it a clear goal-scoring opportunity if Van Dijk is right there with him. That's where I have an issue.
No, but he's not running back. You do realise you're the only person on the planet that still thinks...
No, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen,
count him.
Jamie Carragher, Gary Lineker and Ali Moreno. Gary Lineker, Jamie Carragher and Ali Moreno.
See, this company's no good. This company's not good.
Those idiots don't think it's a red card.
Stevie rang me this morning to even say, you better tell Ali this and this and make sure you mention
No, but listen, here's what slightly disrupts your point, is you're saying that Virgil van Dijk was going to be running alongside Alexander Isak, so could potentially have made a challenge. That is correct. However, the decision Van Dijk made was not to run alongside Alexander Isak and was to make the challenge. Once he makes the challenge, he's then not in a position to get himself goal side because he's made a decision. He got done by Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, when he came inside, looked for all the will in the world as if he was going to play the ball out to the right. And he played a beautiful little reverse pass. And that got Virgil van Dijk on the wrong side, as Stevie pointed out last night. And then once that ball's played down the channel, there's two decisions to be made. Try and go and outpace him, or make a challenge. Once he makes the challenge, the other option is gone. So therefore, he has denied the player the opportunity to A, control the ball, or B, take it through on goal. He has disrupted that ability for him to do that. Therefore, it is a clear red card.
I think while I understand what you're saying about Anthony Gordon, and yes, it's a beautiful ball played by him, and it's a reverse ball, where I think Virgil van Dijk gets done is on arrogance, on thinking that he can just kind of breeze his way into that space and go make a challenge. If he just sprints back right away, he's side by side with Isak, or even beyond Isak. I still don't think it's a red card. I know what these guys are saying. I know the case that they're presenting. I still think that Virgil van Dijk was side by side with Isak, and while Isak may have been marginally ahead, I don't think he's clear through on goal without Van Dijk being side by side with him.
Now, I'm back on the show tomorrow, and I believe tomorrow, this time, is about 24 hours from now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sleep on this.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I may have changed my mind by tomorrow. I don't know.
Okay. At the very least, I'm hanging on to what I think I saw and what my interpretation is, unlike other people in this panel who have changed their mind over the last 24 hours.
In today's game. But, we can then argue about apples and oranges in terms of the push on the back. That wasn't given wrongly. The throwing away of the ball, like time wasting, is now going to be. There's not quite a zero tolerance, but it's pretty close.
As you said, in today's game. He threw it back into the field, though, Mark. Did you think that was a little bit soft of a yellow?
Wait, not under the PGMOL. The PGMOL have spoken to all the clubs, and they give out the criteria at the start of the season that they wanted more playing time. They were going to punish time wasting. We've seen it with Tommy Atsu last week when he delayed the restart. And again, the PGMOL have instructed the referees on a weekly basis that they want more playing time and they want to punish this. And what he does, Trent, we can argue if it's a free kick or not, but the referee punished it because he threw the ball back into the field of play because Dan Burn wanted to take a quick throw in. And that's what it was, delaying the restart. So the referee was well within his rights. This wouldn't have happened some years ago because we as referees weren't really instructed. We wanted to be the first yellow card to be really for a foul, a strong foul, unless it was clear it's time wasting. Because after 4 minutes, is he really time wasting? It's probably a little bit of frustration that he didn't get the free kick. In my time, we would have just went past the player and said, next time you're going to get cautioned, and probably the player would stop. Because what's happening now is when players are getting a yellow card for this type of offence, especially so early on in the game, they're likely going to get sent off, especially defenders, because they're up against the wingers, and one mistimed challenge, they're stopping a promising attack, and therefore they've got a high risk of getting a second yellow card. And this is where referees now have a big problem, because are they really finding a way to struggle to issue a second yellow when the first yellow's for what you've just called soft? Now we've got an issue is when the second yellow is given, now the referees are sometimes a little bit scared to give that when it shouldn't be. They should just act. When it's a yellow card, it's a yellow, and if it's a second yellow, sorry, you're off.
So is that what we saw here then, when we see the second incident that many thought should have been a yellow card?
And now he's got a problem because nobody expected Trent Alexander, after being on a yellow card 2 minutes later, to commit this foul. For me, this is the most clearest yellow card you will see. It's clearly stopping a promising attack. Anthony Gordon has pushed the ball past him with pace, and he's just clearly stopped his run to stop that promising attack. So this clearly ticks all the boxes for a yellow card. And what I've just said before, they've just got that block. They didn't want, after 6 minutes, to issue a second yellow. But for me, the referee should just do the job. It's not the referee's problem that Trent Alexander threw the ball away and he's committed a clear second yellow card offence. So for me, these are 2 yellow cards within the laws of the game. Yes, the first yellow could have been managed differently, but for me, this should be a red card.
This is where we get to hear from Shaka Hislop. Because even though he's the mayor of Newcastle, he doesn't think it should have been a second yellow card.
No, I don't. Listen, watching the game live and in real time, I didn't think it was a yellow card. I thought it was a foul, but I didn't think it was a yellow card. I just didn't see it and still don't feel it was bookable.
Well, I agree with Mark. The referee should have done his job, and it's not his fault the directives have changed. So I think it was, he should have gone. And I tell you why it was a second yellow. I tell you why it should have been a second yellow, is because it was the cynical nature of the challenge. It's no different to pulling a shirt back or tripping somebody up when you have made no attempt whatsoever to play the ball. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, unfortunately for him, Anthony Gordon was too quick for him. And so that if the challenge had been to try and win the ball and it was slightly mistimed, I think you could have some discretion there. But because there was absolutely no attempt to play the ball and it was only an attempt to stop the player, hence it was a cynical challenge, it was a pretty easy second yellow to give. We all know the reason he didn't give it.
100% second yellow, and he gone. Should have been off. No question about it.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.